It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Brouhaha. Marshall Wood and Dale McKee. Getting ready to break it down a little bit. Dale, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
You're always doing good.
Well, I try to. The weather's been really nice to me.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Oh yeah,
man. So you're a fair weather kind of guy.
Well, I like weather like this for sure.
Yeah. Me too, buddy. Me too. I tell you what, there's a lot of storms brewing around, a lot of things going on out there in the world of college football, of course everywhere else, but college football for sure. We don't want to say too much, but I noticed in your sideline view, we all know it, Coach Hall.
Yeah, that was.
We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to we'll do a flyby on that one right now. No pun intended with the Golden Eagle thing.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, how about that Crimson Tide?
Well, I tell you what. Now that I'm reflecting back on their season,
yeah,
they should have been defeated 4 times. I don't know if they'd had another minute in that Georgia game if it wouldn't have lost. Yeah. I don't know if they'd had another minute in the South Carolina game.
Yeah.
But people got to understand. Nick Saban said it the other day. The day he announced that he was retiring, within 3 days, 26 players on that team, his last team, were put themselves in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. So they showed me they only went to Alabama to play for him.
Yeah, yeah.
And so,
well, that. I mean.
So it's hard I don't care who the coach is, and the guy, I really like the personality of the coach they have now there at Alabama. But now I don't think the quarterback has played well. He didn't play well the other day. He looked like that last interception that he had. He was looking down the receiver the whole time, and then he threw a pick in the end zone earlier in the ball game. So, Alabama fans have probably never used this word in probably 20 years, but sometimes you have to rebuild.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think the culture of Alabama's locker room and football team has been destroyed from what it was. Mm-hmm. Kalen DeBoer is an encourager. Mm-hmm. He's not saying anything. He said, we can do better. It's going to be good. He encourages. He don't get in their face and cuss them out and chew them out. And they're not responding. I think he's too soft on them.
Well, the defense hadn't played well, and I think the only one they could have hired to probably replace Saban that was like him, and he did not want to come, was the Dan Lanning up at Oregon. And of course,
he's number 1 in the nation right now.
Yeah, he's 7-1, but he's got a personality similar to Saban's.
Yes. I just don't think. I mean, I listened to some of the things he said coming out at half. It's like a kumbaya kind of deal, like a camp thing. Gonna make everybody feel good. You keep doing it, work out. You get it right, you'll get it right. And that ain't the culture from Alabama football. I think Bear Bryant didn't do it. Gene Stallings didn't do it that way. You gonna run that bunch, you gotta be mean.
Yeah, I mean, you're mentioning Alabama's coaching heritage. Just think about it. The 2 greatest college football coaches probably. And mine in your lifetime, Bear Bryant and Nick Saban, And of course, now I love Gene Stallings.
Oh, me too.
I mean, he was like one of the boys,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And love hearing him talk.
Well, it's an interesting thing to watch, and I mean, I'm not hating on that. I like Alabama because they represent the South in a lot of things, and I dig that. I'll pull for Alabama when they're winning because hey, they're our neighbors. Mm-hmm. I mean, doggone. But anyway, interesting thing. I tell you what, another observation I made Saturday watching Texas, and they were wearing yours out. Georgia was, and they put Arch in there, and I was saying. Well, for somebody that said he wasn't going to do anything like this, if Arch had taken that team and gone down that field, yours would have been done. You agree or disagree for the year?
Yeah.
He didn't get it done, but I'm not hating on the kid. I mean, he did as good as yours had done to that point, but he was really on the verge. I mean, he was a couple of plays away from being a starting quarterback for the rest of the season for Texas, in my opinion, or he wouldn't have put him in there. You agree or disagree?
Well, yeah, I think he was. I mean, the coach was probably just trying to light a fire at that time, and there's probably pretty good possibility if he had had a pretty good showing. I know the first time Eli got in a ball game was up at the bowl game in Nashville, Music City Bowl. He was I think he was a red shirt sophomore that year, maybe, or a freshman, I can't remember. Or maybe he was a second year freshman, and he came off the bench, and Ole Miss was down like, I don't know if you remember, like 30-something points. And Eli never lost his position after that for the next 3 years because they didn't win the game. They were playing somebody like West Virginia. They did not win the game, but he made it very interesting, like three touchdowns, the first 3 possessions he had the ball. So now Arch is a great athlete, and Arch is going to be a phenomenal player.
I agree.
But I really thought that Georgia's offensive line and defensive line controlled that ball.
Man.
And I'm thinking, a lot of Ole Miss fans are saying, well, we got a chance with Georgia at Oxford. I'm not so sure now because I've seen Ole Miss's offensive line the last couple of ball games. They have not played well. And I'm going to tell you what, if you don't play well against Georgia, but I'm going to be honest with you, I think the bright spot in the weekend was Mississippi State staying with Texas A&M.
They've done that a couple of times this year. They're not throwing in the towel. They're playing hard, and they're playing good teams tough. I'm excited about that for them.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to A&M by 10. They lost to Georgia by 10.
Yeah.
And they didn't really get run off the field by Texas. I mean, they've really come since that Holy Toledo loss.
Yeah.
They've come back.
I'm excited about it. Dale, we're kind of getting long on this first segment. Who we got for our guest tonight?
We got Hunter Dawkins. Hunter's going to talk to us about some subjects that I don't know. A lot of people probably are feeling down right now if they're the fans of the New Orleans Saints and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles.
Yeah, well, count me in that number.
There you go.
I'm all down in the mouth.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's take a break to hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be back with tonight's second segment with our guest, Hunter Dawkins. See you after the break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
All right, on the show today, one of our good friends, Hunter Dawkins, going to talk a little college football, a little pro football. Hunter, I hope you're doing well today on this bright, sunshiny day.
Dale, it's always fantastic. Not a cloud in the sky down here. The weather is wonderful, and we've got to work, sometimes blasphemous. But hey, it is what it is. So.
I got you. Well, listen. First of all, the big news yesterday up in our area, we really had, unfortunately, 2 head football coaches were let go. One of them in Hattiesburg, one of them in Ellisville. But let's talk about the USM football situation and just kind of expand on what your thoughts on that process was.
Well, of course, I know you're talking about Will Hall's departure from the USM, and it's unfortunate, as you guys and I have talked about beforehand, and it was almost a little bit of a writing on the wall. The USM didn't have a lot of, it's one thing having the top recruiting class in which Will spoke to me about every year. We got the top this, but making those kids not only be able to transition from high school or from another college and being able to develop that's the difficult thing. And that's something that you can see the writing on the wall, and especially nowadays with the amount of money that goes into college football with donations, with recruiting, with NIL, in the transfer portals. People expect a results business. And I've heard plenty of things. Well, results shouldn't matter. Well, unfortunately nowadays, guys, results matter in everything. And I hate that because I was formerly a high school football coach, and that was something, that we had coached and preached about. But even in high school football, results matter, and it's a game that's changed a lot since all of us were school boys. But it's something that Southern's got to work out, and I think that finally Jeremy McClain, the AD, finally got the realization that if this doesn't change soon, they're going to go after me for my job. So something had to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Of course, Southern Miss probably lags behind financially compared to the other schools like State and Ole Miss.
Of course.
They're asking for I know I got some information from them. They'd like for me to donate $17 a month to their NIL. And, Well,
the collective, heck, Dale, the collective is out there for everybody. You can put money into the collective. However, it's more of the big donations, which Southern does have some guys that make some big donations, but it's got to be, related to something, at least towards the football program, towards the, and it's something that's just not been successful the last few years, really the last 10 years for Southern Miss.
Sure. Okay. So I was watching some of the ball game in the second half. It was kind of close at half, so I just turned it over there for a little bit, watching it on that ESPN Plus, and it just seemed like they almost made junior high mistakes as far as, handoffs. They almost handed it off to a defensive tackle one time for where they did. And, things like that. It just seems like they
unfortunately, guys, these USM players have not really developed. I know Will coached about, or he talked about coaching these kids and getting them retention, getting them to come back to be able to do things the right way. But you have to be able to develop these kids. You're not going to get a Frank Gore Jr. very much, and even him, he had to develop. It took him 3 years really before making a solid foundation, and it's just unfortunate the way things worked out.
Well, so now that they're in this situation, and of course, we know that they promoted Reed Stringer. He's a Canton, Mississippi native, to the he's like what they call him the general manager. So I guess that's a new role in college football these days.
Yeah, it's a little bit under the athletic director, but it's somebody that's more so the manager of the team, with the financial manager of the team, really the one that kind of handles the personnel matter more than anything else.
Yeah, well, he's going to be the head coach for the remainder of the season. But where does Southern Miss go from here?
Well, in my eyes, and I'm not somebody that's offering advice to anybody, because not very many people ask for that. but as far as it goes from my standpoint, guys, that it needs to happen sometime soon here. At least maybe not the hiring of a coach on the team right now, but a hiring and waiting, because as you guys know, the early signing deadline is going to start happening pretty soon. You need to have the not only that, but then you need to have the recruitment from the transfer portal. You need to have your eyes wide open, where you're having somebody with some stability able to come in and really help change the program. And it's unfortunate, and I think that the New Orleans Saints need to do this too. They need to just clean the house. Now, like I said, I'm not a big fan of losing coaching staff, because what so many people don't realize, when you get rid of one coach, the head coach, you're getting rid of the whole platform. You're getting rid of everybody involved with that program from a standpoint of in the coaching environment and families and such. and you know, it's always a tough matter to happen. But at the same level, you know, you pretty much, unless there's just a person that his position has been successfully, you know, doing things the right way, normally you just need to clean house in this situation.
All right. Well, who would be some of the leading candidates? I've heard some names, and I didn't. Of course, the biggest name is.
Names, but of course, you know, my leading candidate would be John Gruden, but that's just me.
I can live with that.
John Gruden wouldn't want the money. That's the greatest thing about it. Because Southern Miss doesn't have that much money. He wouldn't want the money because he's already trying to take care of his money situation. However, I don't think Coach Gruden would really open up that offer. But you know, I'm not necessarily certain, you know, Dale or Marshall, that I've heard really any go-to names right now. But there's a few that wouldn't surprise me. There's a few.
Well, just the rumblings that I've heard is their first call is going to be to Auburn, Alabama, to try to convince Derek Nix to come over.
Nix. Yep, that's right.
And then and they've got some other USM graduates. They have a young man from Ellisville, Mississippi, named Jason Simpson that is coaching at UT Martin. He's been up there like 17 years.
Simpson's been there for a while, absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a little running backs coach from Alabama who is from Hattiesburg. His name's Robert Gillespie. He played at Hattiesburg High, played at the University of Florida, Steve Spurrier. So, you know, those are some of the names that I've already.
If I was Southern Miss, I would really, you know, make the mark towards Nix first because, you know, Auburn's in a quagmire right now. They're obviously not going to make a big effort in either, not only unless they just sweep the rest of the games, which is very not likely from that format. And you know, the coach there, Hugh Freeze, who, even though I know Hugh Freeze is a Southern Miss guy, he's definitely a guy that doesn't like to take responsibility and blames others for the missed failures of his own team. But that being said, Derek, though, I think would be a great addition, and he's somebody that I think could bring in a lot of successful coaches from around the globe, and he's somebody that I believe connects with the kids right. But they would have to, you know, make him a deal because it's hard to leave even a coordinator position in SEC ball, especially at Auburn, where they're providing you some decent funds. And that's going to see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I think coaches now are looking, if they're going to take a job, the first thing they're looking at, okay, how much NIL money have you got for me? And that's going to be a good thing. Right. Now, salary related, I was looking up Nix's salary at Auburn, which is public knowledge, but it was like the same that they were paying Will Hall. So, you know, maybe if they could up that a little bit, he would come back home, you know, as they say. But
Derek is the best thing that I think about him is if Southern was able to get him would be his recruiting ability, because I know the kids would play for him. I know, and I'm not saying they didn't play for Will, but from a different format. You know, Derek's got the experience of playing there. He can provide that with the kids. You know, a lot of the, at least of all the way around the board, those guys can really, you know, mark it easy for him. But yeah, I'm hopeful, you know, as a Southern Miss fan, that Derek Nix could at least take that offer. So.
Sure. Well, okay, let's turn our attention to the New Orleans Saints.
Oh,
what happened to the Saints against Sean Payton and the Broncos? Fill us in on that.
Well, you know, of course, if you want me to provide you with the standard answer, you know, you could say injuries, and yes, it is a serious matter, and, you know, not having three of your offensive linemen who are all, you know, at least potentially Pro Bowl or all-pro, and, then having two tackles that are essentially rookies, even though Penny's been there for a year, he's pretty as much essentially a rookie because he sat out with injury his rookie year. But, yeah, that's just, you're not, it doesn't matter to me what level of football you play, guys. If you don't have an offensive line that is going to come out and help protect your quarterback, doesn't matter if you got Tom Brady, if you got, the rookie from, and Spencer's, I'm sure he's absolutely talented, a rookie quarterback, but he doesn't have any time. He doesn't have any ability. He doesn't have his Taysom back there to be able to provide some decoy or some blocks or runs or anything as such. The receivers are out. Those are two of the best receivers in the NFL. I promise you, out of the 32 NFL teams, 31 teams would love having either one of those guys on their roster. They're pretty much just shut down. But that, to me, isn't the real reason that, that's going on. The real reason is there needs to be, and, I know this is going to be on a national platform because I know you guys are nationally successful, but at that level,
yes, good with that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
News to us.
There needs to be a cleaning of the house from the top down, and from the top down because it's just not been successful for the Saints the last 4 years. Not only with personnel or coaching wise, but from all the way up top when you're trying to do these salary caps. Instead of just trying to clear the house, they're trying to resurface, restructure. Why is the Saints organization continually having this problem? Because from the top down, Mickey Loomis, the GM, all the way down to the scouting director, Jeff Allen, even though he's a very successful at what he does and he's had some great draft picks, you just don't have that connection with the organization. And they need, as much as hard as the format is, I think that the owner, Miss Gail Benson, will have to make. She'll have to step it up and just say we need to clean house. And now, whether that happens the next game or whether that happens at the end of the season, it's got to happen to make something successful. Dennis Allen was a project of a Sean Payton 1B. Can we bring in Sean Payton's assistant to be able to continue this Sean Payton style? Well, now since Sean Payton came to the Dome and whooped up on the organization, what do we have now? Okay, then we're gonna have we don't have anything else we can do with Sean Payton or Drew Brees, so we're just gonna have to totally resurface everything. That's my opinion, fellas. That's the way that, and I'm pretty certain that every other media member that covers the Saints would tell you that, maybe not necessarily on the radio, but behind the doors, they would say, look, guys, it's good time to clean house.
All right, well, listen, let's just shift gears for a minute. Every game in college football now seems to be a playoff game for a lot of teams. I mean, it doesn't matter if Ole Miss is playing Oklahoma this week. If Ole Miss slips up, they're going, of course, they're going to have their backs to the wall about making the playoffs because there's a lot of good teams.
They're going to have to run the table.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams out there that's come on, had great years. Army, Navy, Liberty's still undefeated. I can't name them all besides the ones that we know about. But what was your thoughts about what happened in Knoxville and what happened in Austin, Texas?
Well, in Knoxville, it's almost like a very, you have to, and I think so many people nowadays expected, well, Kalen was going to come in, he's the winning one of this, he's won ball games here, he's done this here, but, guys, he's not Nick Saban. Now, I'm not comparing him to Nick Saban, but he doesn't have that same style of coaching format. He doesn't come in with the transition. unfortunately for Alabama, of course, the Alabama fans expect everything to be, 100% the same as it was under Coach Saban. But the unfortunate thing is you're never going to get that. It's never going to happen. And, Alabama could still make the playoffs, but the SEC and the new football playoff transition, college football playoff format is so open to the field now. You're going to get games like this because teams like Vanderbilt, who have nothing to lose, can just throw everything out on the table. And that's what they did. And Tennessee is a very young roster, but they have no reason to hold back against Alabama. Nobody was expecting them to win. Nobody was expecting Vanderbilt to win. So, if I'm the Alabama fan, I need to just keep myself out of the state of Tennessee for this year, if possible. And then from Sark's perspective in Texas and in Georgia, there's a lot of talk and a lot of this is the team. We're a big formatted team, but the thing about the Texas Longhorns, they haven't faced the competition that they're going to start facing every single week in SEC ball. You guys and I know it. You can't get over having to play a Georgia one week, a Texas A&M later on in the season, just something every single week, and Ole Miss, a this or that. It's something that's going to come after you. Heck, Mississippi State, who's having, obviously not a successful year, they went up to UT, and it was within, a couple, at least they kept it within a reasonable score. And that should have started raising questions on people's minds when that happened, because Mississippi State virtually is a broken team right now, but they're doing pretty good with what they've got.
They have fought some pretty good battles here the last couple of weeks and kept it reasonable. But listen, Hunter, I hate to tell you this, but we're out of time. Man, time flies when you're having fun, and we always have fun with you, Hunter, and we appreciate you. I'm going to ask you to hold on just a minute. We're going to take a break to hear from one of our sponsors, and then Dale and I will be back with tonight's final segment after this commercial break. See you in a minute.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody. We appreciate Hunter for being with us. And then we got a few minutes left here, very few minutes. I'm just kind of looking at anything you want to say? Got a blank check here, man. Here's where you bet.
No, I'll tell you what. I'm going to let you kind of control the last part of this show.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everybody. See y'all later. No, I'm just kidding. Looking at the first polls out that I've seen after this weekend of football, the first one that came to my attention was the AP poll. That AP poll has been around. You probably know more about that AP poll than anybody. It's been around forever, like you.
1938.
See there? You see that? And I bet you can fact check that, and I bet he's right. 1938. Well, I wonder if Oregon's ever been number one in the AP poll before.
I think they have.
I'm sure they have. They won a national.
Back in around 2012, they had that.
Mariota.
Yeah. I think they were probably.
Well, they played a national championship game against Cam Newton, didn't they?
Yeah, Auburn. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they've been up there before. They're number one. The old Bulldogs of Georgia's number two. The Nittany Lions are in there at 3. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'll probably have a hard time staying in there. I guess they probably. Running some little tougher competition. Ohio State with 1 loss is at 4. Texas is down to 5. I'm coming over here. Miami's at 6. Let's just look around here. Tennessee's 7. LSU's 8. Clemson's 9. Interesting little observation here, if I can find it. Conference call. SEC's got 8 in the top 25. Number 1, number 5, number 7, number 8, number 11, 14, 18, and 19. The Big Ten has got 6, 2, 3, 4, 16, 22, and 24. So
who was 25th in the AP poll?
25th in the AP poll?
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know who 20? Tell us, you know who it is.
Well, you left them out. I mean, you stopped at 19.
Well, that's what I sure did. It was Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
By George.
Yeah.
And how about, I love looking at this last 22, SMU, the Pony
I
Express.
like looking at the last 5.
You
I
know,
think they're remarkable.
Yeah, I ain't worried about Illinois and Missouri.
Well, Illinois got a Mississippi, but Illinois got a Mississippi boy playing
Yeah,
quarterback.
Luke Altmaier.
Yeah.
They doing good.
Yeah.
But anyway, shut up, Dale. You said I can do this.
Okay.
All righty, SMU 61. Now that it's legal to buy them players, you just wait.
We going to town.
They coming, boy. They coming. Get ready.
Yeah.
But listen to this: 23 and 24, Army and Navy. Man, I love that.
Man, they must be hitting the transfer portal.
Man, yeah, and you know they do it without that.
I know that.
Man, that is incredible. Running the wishbone, baby.
Oh, it's tough.
I'm telling you,
tough.
you don't see it very often. This
No.
stuff.
But now both of them still got Notre Dame to play. I think Navy plays Notre Dame this week.
Go Navy.
Yeah. Go Navy.
Anyway, and then Vanderbilt sitting in there at 25. That's a nice kid. Folks, I just got to tell you, if you're going to make a mistake, you better get up pretty early in the morning to get one over my buddy here, because Dale's going to catch it every time. That being said, the word time, something we're out of, Dale. We want to thank everybody for listening in and remind you that you can follow us on our Facebook page at the Brouhaha, and on all the shows that we have are cataloged to listen to on demand at our YouTube channel at the Brouhaha. But now it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
And goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Hey, Jamie, get us out of here.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.